Where are you?
Okay. All right. So let's see. This is the 11th March for the Marin Sonoma Hub. So as you were saying, Anna,
Well, I was just saying that um, one of the topics that I'd like to talk about after we do a kind of general check-in is the financing. And you can help too, Johnny, if you've been involved with them. I'm just getting in the loop of all that. So, Dina, do you have anything
Yes.
that you particularly want to talk about today?
Oh, no, I don't have anything in particular other than thank you for all the contacts you're sending out and trying to make, Anna.
Yeah, I'm not emailing them to all of you or to you, Pat. It's just too much. But so Dina and I are sharing back and
that's
forth.
good. That's good.
And so far, my biggest concern, and maybe Dina can help me here, is really getting in touch, getting us involved with some indigenous locals who can be part of the circle, not this group, but the circle. And um, I was interested in what you know, Dina, about the oh, just a minute. It's the what is it? I wish my brain could her names better. The
Are you talking about the Cultural Conservancy?
yeah, right.
Well, Heron Shadow, which is an indigenous property where they have volunteer days and restoration days and activities and I don't know what all. I do know that when you sign up for their newsletter, you get it from the Cultural Conservancy. So I don't
Mhm.
know if the Cultural Conservancy has other properties too, or that's just the umbrella that Heron Shadow is under. And I haven't made it there yet. People from my watershed council are going this weekend to a work day, and some of them have been before, but I can't make it. So that's what I know about them.
Right. It seems like they may be one of the easiest ways to make that connection. I wrote a letter, an email, uh, and sent it through someone who said she would try to get it to somebody who was interested in responding to the Dry Creek Rancheria, and I haven't heard back. I'm going to have to try again. It's very hard to get a response. And I went ahead and wrote an email to Greg Saris. Have not heard back. They are running casinos and doing all kinds of things and getting hundreds of emails a day, and it's hard to get through. And part of
Well,
it, it's hard to get through anyway with emails these days. That's what I'm finding.
yeah. Well, I think you're right. Heron Shadow making a connection could be good. And the other idea I had is in Santa Rosa, there's the California Indian Museum and Cultural Center.
Right, that's close here.
Yeah, so maybe they would be more willing to talk.
Yeah, I'll go over and just visit with them.
Yeah.
They're just walking distance from me. It's
Okay.
very small. It's not a big deal. Yeah, it's tough.
But they
It's tough.
the sorry. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No,
Um, the California Indian Museum and Cultural Center of Santa Rosa has programs, and they're the ones that have a teenage program where they're processing acorns and making a acorn bite product
uh,
to
yeah,
sell.
I
And they're
saw.
the ones that have like this $1 million food sovereignty incubator Kinshin grant from USDA. So they're
They
happening.
may have had it. Um, So I'll go talk with them, that there's somebody I can connect with. That's a good idea, Dina. And I haven't been able to recontact Sherry. I've tried and tried. I can't find her anywhere.
Well, I guess she doesn't want to be found right now.
Right.
But if you make an appointment to go to a place, let me know because I'll try to go if it's a day I can.
Okay, great. Good. Okay. And we've got a beginning list. This is a check-in of people who would be, now Dan isn't in this group today, but I'll contact him and talk to him about it. We've got Matt, I hope. I wrote him an email. And he's just back from Australia and they've been sick. So he's going to get back in touch with me. And he is part of the Green Valley Farm. That's his connection. And the plan in Grayton is really large. So that's a big project. I'm going to just see how much he wants to. But at least he understands and he's involved in it all. I hope he'll stay with us. And Derek Trowbridge, the old country winery that's doing all the compost, regenerative compost work, is good for it. He would like to join the circle. He's also a good friend of Dan Noble's, who will be in that circle, but also I expected him here today. So I'll check. And then hopefully, Dina, did you check back in with Nick and Spencer? Are they good for the group?
I briefly talked to Nick this morning, and his maybe it will be easier to talk to him. He just said this month there's so much going on,
Yeah.
and I did ask if he was looking for a volunteer to run their events and some social media probably and stuff. And I asked him if he found that person, and he said yes. So
Good.
they've got the farm manager working now, and they have this free events coordinator. So that's progress. I feel
Good.
like they're very busy, but I think when we have something to invite them to, we can pin them down.
Right.
I tried
And-
to connect with him once already to get him hooked up with grant money, and then I missed the first Zoom call, and then we set up a second one, and then he missed the second Zoom call, and then he sent me a message the other day. So I'm gonna connect with him probably in the next week again, just to
Oh,
see if I can
good.
get him some money.
Oh,
Right.
that would be awesome.
Yeah. And then I'm going to recontact with Wendy Krupnik as I'm making this connection with BioFi and the finance thing. Underneath that, Pat, are you on BioFi at all? Do you want to be on Hilo with me so you have the connection? Hilo is the Johnny's on it. Hilo is the portal for BioFi. With
Yeah, I
food.
haven't really been able to tap into BioFi yet. So
So let's sign you up. You go into BioFi and sign up for Hilo, and you'll start getting the information.
go into BioFi and sign up for Hilo.
Right. And
HILO, is that what that is? HILO? Hilo?
HILO.
HYLO.
YLO, right.
Yeah, HYLO. HYLO is the platform, and then BioFi is the group on the platform.
Okay. In
Yeah,
Bio.
and I behind that, just quickly for the financial thing, my brother sent me this. You probably know about it, Johnny. The Novo Foundation, NOVO, capital VO. It's Peter Buffett. And he is definitely connected with BioFi. And behind that, I mean, Peter Buffett is mega bucks. And
Huh.
he deeply into, I sent the email around. So look at that, Pat, if you haven't. the Novo Foundation.
Okay, no.
And his description of bioregionalism.
Oh, yeah, that, I like that. Yeah, well,
He is-
I mean, that's something that Dina sent me, right?
He is supporting it, so.
Yeah, that was a good
Talk about
article.
money, I mean, you don't get much further than one of the Buffetts. So that was pretty
Oh,
interesting,
that's right, the Buffett, the son of the Buffett.
right, the youngest
But
son.
you don't get to apply to Novo directly, so that's interesting that they're giving money to BioFi, like the back door, and letting BioFi use it. Is that the
I think
correct?
so, I'm not sure, I'd have to check, and maybe you know, Johnny?
I'm not sure. Isn't Novo's foundation also tied in with the design school?
Yes,
They're like the fiscal sponsor for Joe and Penny, correct?
I think they may be,
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure, I'd have to ask Penny. And just hold Penny in your heart, she's had some kind of physical injury, she sounds like she's broken something.
She just broke her foot or something like that.
Wow,
Yeah,
Yeah.
geez.
so she's canceled some of the thing I was going to do with her this morning, got canceled. So anyway, that's all I have to bring forward, except that I think I have something more substantial to take back to people like Wendy Krupnick, who are, like this around money and the loss of money with the stupid government and all of that. So that's all. Tina, do you have anything to
I just
add?
want to say about the BioFi movement, they're very early and they're more about building the ways to distribute finance versus distributing money. So they're not a good place if you need money, but they're definitely a good place to go for eventually when they find some money. Maybe through the Novos Foundation, but most of their work is introducing people to other projects that are going on. They do I'm sure you've been
Right.
to those presentations, right, Anna, where they hold the like 2 or 3 people get to present their work and they're
Yeah.
only like limited to 15 minutes or something like that. They're very professional, so I definitely agree with Anna. Everyone
Yeah,
should be attending those.
I was on an email from the weaving or whatever, weaving from Europe it had 800 people signed up, way over 400 online at the time that I was. And Samantha Power was one of the major speakers in it. So she's out there. And
She
she's
wrote the
written,
book. She literally wrote the book.
yeah, she's good. I'm impressed.
It's
So,
kind of fun, all these connections, like Matt at Revillage in Grayton is connected to Samantha. And Samantha was in that article that somebody in my watershed council sent to me, and I shared. That's the one I shared with,
Yeah.
I think, you guys, Pat, that you just talked about.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
kind of explained
Very
bioregionalism.
good article, very good.
Yeah, and then that Isabel Carlisle or whatever her name is, I remember her from some of the design school stuff speaking, and she was in that article. And then the article had a podcast called The Great Simplification that's been on my radar to check out because somebody I'm new at the Grange that is interested in food and community building and is ripe for bioregionalism listens to The Great Simplification. So there's all these like little connections.
I gotta be worried with the Great Simplification podcast. It's a lot of mental masturbation, and a lot of people just listen to that to feel good about themselves. In my
I haven't
opinion,
checked it out
it's a
yet.
fine podcast, but it doesn't really offer any practical use. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
a lot of people talking and thinking great, but like I want to see that dude pick up a shovel and go plant a tree. You know what I mean? Or
right.
like it's like
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a great podcast. Everybody in the design school, I think they've posted it multiple times, links to it on the member lounge. So give it a listen.
Well,
Good.
I agree with you that we can't just think about these things or choose not to think about these things. We need actions that, and people need to be told what actions to do. I just finished the interview in the book Anna really recommended, What If We Get It Right, with the film directors and the solutions journalist. And it really hit home that journalism is turned to, here's the problem and let me tell you about it with a smile. Okay, moving on. And that's not sharing any solutions or calls to action. And I
Right.
happen to agree with that journalist who said we need the solutions and the calls to action. So not
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, you should drive less, but how do you get bike lanes painted in your town?
Right. So, yeah, we don't have time to go a dive in that direction, but what the media is not reporting on is what really upsets me. There's hardly anything about Bernie, who's getting thousands and thousands and thousands of people in small towns in Michigan at his events, and you don't see that on the New York Times or even, the major, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't get much press since he's
I'm
lost
going to
the
connect
presidential.
you, Maya, and he's out there doing it. He's doing what we're talking about, not this, but doing. I'll be in touch this week with Maya and Jenny to see if they want to be in the circle. Dina, that's just brings in the whole agroforestry part. So
Yeah.
Pat, do you want to download?
Yeah.
Or Dina?
What do you mean by the circle? What's your circle? Is this meeting or is it?
That's the
what's the-
question I think we need to deal with. We've got our larger vision of Marin Sonoma,
Mhm.
and how are we going to put together the Marin piece and the Sonoma piece, which are somewhat separated in our current situation?
Mhm.
I think it's important. I saw again in the in that website, the cultural website, that
Services.
it's together. They're talking about that bioregion.
Yeah.
So we're part of a historic bioregion.
Yeah.
But how are we going to put it together as we start meeting that makes it work for both of us? That's I don't know the answer, but it's a question. And because I think we ought to stay connected, but
Yeah. We're
at the same time, practically,
we're not connected.
we're not as connected.
Yeah. And certainly sound like there's a whole lot more going on up your way and what you're doing than down here. I've just found that how I've been approaching things has not been bringing very much any results. So the people who I've contacted haven't responded really. Even the executive director is just too busy. So it's too bad. I've even encouraged people to read Joe's book. I'm rereading it now, and I find it something that would connect people. I think I might even send out this that Noble, the Buffett, that article, because it really talks about bioregionalism in a way that I think people would connect with it. But I think I've been looking for cohorts, and that's not been maybe what I should be doing. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm really like what you're trying to connect with is organizations. But I haven't been able to, I haven't been able to get any organizations to connect with. So what I'm doing right now, you saw that what will become a flyer that to put out to people, to organizations, is what I'm doing with Project Adapt on a local bioregional get-together. They wanted to do something, and so we proposed different things, and they accepted my proposal to basically do a ceremony to acknowledge the personhood of a tree or something. And that has now developed into what you saw. And Molly Arthur, I worked with her, she pretty much wrote that up. She has connections with local indigenous groups. And matter of fact, there's going to be a powwow she told me about at College of Marin on the 23rd. A powwow an all-day event, which I'm going to go to and see who I connect with, who I meet. So that has some potential for connecting people, because what the Project Adapt project, because that's where and I didn't bring it up. I wrote to them about what I'm doing, and I haven't gotten much response except with Lauren. We had a meeting with Penny and Joe, but from Molly comes the idea of a bioregion. So they're thinking in that way. So we'll see what happens. I know you had some question about it, Anna. I never got a chance to connect with you, but you had some misgivings or something about where that was. So I don't.
What part?
Yeah. I mean, you wrote to me.
Wait,
You
what?
wrote, yeah. So you wrote to me to get in touch, and I haven't been able to. I'm dealing with a lot of personal family stuff right now. My brother needs my support. My sister-in-law is going to have. She's been now in her 3rd month of hospitalization for recovery from a serious staph infection. Luckily, the particular staph infection is responsive to antibiotics, but the bacteria has already damaged 2 of her heart valves. So she's going to have surgery for heart valve replacement. My brother's going nuts over it, so I've been going over there in Berkeley. They're waiting for some lesions to dry up so that they can do blood thinners so they can do the operation. So it's kind of in between a rock and a hard place.
Wow, people are having a hard time physically right now. It's interesting. My downstairs my son was down for 10 days. He had pneumonia.
Yeah, the thing I know, and there's flu and there's COVID around, and so I'm looking forward to the class starting on the 18th and see, where I can go from there, so I can contribute to the circle. So that's kind of.
I'm sorry your sister-in-law has had such a rough time, and it's good your brother is close enough you can go over there. I was worried they were East Coast people for you or something.
They're in Berkeley.
Yeah.
I saw my great-grandchild Sunday. My grandson is in Berkeley also. So.
Oh yeah, the baby picture you sent.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Pat, I think you were involved in Project Adapt before we even knew you, correct?
This is like going into our 4th year now.
Yeah. So that's a part of bioregionalism.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe even though you're not attracting cohorts that have time to be attracted, like we have trouble with that too. I'm busy with my stuff. Everybody's having trouble with that one, but maybe inserting the word and the thoughts about bioregionalism and more people is planting little seeds, hopefully. Like, oh, I want to hear more about that, or oh, that totally makes sense, or if I had time, I'd be more involved, or whatever your seeds are you're planting.
Yeah, in the meantime, I'm still a volunteer with the county parks and with Spawn and with the Valley Broom Service. So I always get a chance to have conversations.
Yeah, and you're doing some of the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And Joe may have some real insight when we start the course
I
yeah,
hope so.
on how to do this, because I'm sure that the question around helping people who are already feeling an overload want to see the benefit of
Mhm.
coming together in the larger circle. Now, I see it as the seeds of a new system. I'm not the least bit interested in fixing the system we've got.
yeah,
It's so far, I mean, the fact that we've come to the point that we're at is a
Yeah.
story of the whole direction we've been going for a long time. So,
Yeah, it's a structure that is parallel, but could be there to build upon when needed. Yeah. Well, I'm curious, Beans, how's your moving plans going?
did we lose Johnny for a bit?
No, I just had to click the
Oh,
button.
okay.
Click the buttons. I'm on the other side. I'm playing in hypercapitalism on one side of my screen, right? Like trying to not let Donald Trump lose all my money at this moment. New Mexico. Let's see. So like a couple of months ago, I paid an engineering firm to start working on the engineering plans for the Earth Bag house because in New Mexico they won't let just me build my house without it being approved by an engineer. So that all got done basically. They're in the final week of doing the engineering plans, but the design got finished, designed it with passive solar, so should be good to go on that front. And I booked a trailer for the 15th of April, or for the 14th, and then I'm leaving on the 15th and then driving to New Mexico. And I booked a couple hip camps on the way. So some interesting places to stop at overnight, and get some camping in some interesting locations. And yeah, so I should be in New Mexico by the 17th of April. And then yeah, I've got to set up my tent and all that fun stuff and get ready to live in the middle of the desert while I build a house. So yeah, the permaculture thing, like my whole course is over. I'm just kind of waiting for them to finish giving all the grades and whatever, They have to look at however many people's designs. But otherwise, like everything is right on schedule. I've been meeting with the owners association over there, and we have a mine project we have to fight now because of Trump rolling back the environmental policies a little bit. So whereas before they got slapped down because of like environmental issues, now they might come back and try to push for the mine again. So there's that, and then now we're looking at how to fix roads. And I think it's interesting the fact that like they have a lot of problems that seem like it could be solved with permaculture techniques or some very basic stuff, like just planting native ground cover and stuff like that. And a lot of that kind of stuff can be accomplished for basically free because the Bureau of Land Management and stuff will just give you a lot of stuff for free if you ask. Um, so yeah, it's interesting. I have a meeting on Saturday on how we should fix the roads out there because it's so dusty and dry. And if you want more people to move out there, obviously you don't want people driving around on dusty and dry roads, setting off dust storms all day, right? So figure out how to handle that. But I mean, it's going great. 2 thumbs up. All according to schedule. And then once I get there, I'll definitely have a lot more free time. I won't be in this like crazy rush where everybody found out that I'm moving in a month, so now the entire town wants my help fixing all of their heating and air conditioning and refrigerator problems. So I've been like at the community center, at the community hall. I have a community garden I've been trying to plant now for the last like 5 months. And at the very end, the community school people pulled out because they said they're too old to have to plant the garden themselves. So I have to pivot to get somebody else to plant all the trees since I'm leaving in, a little bit more than 30 days. And I have a greenhouse full of plants I've been buying for like 6 months for this project. So I have to try to get that fixed in the next 30 days. And yeah, hopefully, then I'll be ready to go again and back to these meetings on a regular basis. Um,
Well,
So so did people buy plots of land in this area? Is that the people you're meeting with?
so there's already people that live there, and so So a long time ago, I say a long time ago, but it is a long time ago, I guess. The 70s and the 80s, after the land scam started, obviously some people moved in after the land scam and built like little houses or were homesteading there, whatever they were doing. And they had like 500 people in the owners association, and they had a community center, and they had their own thrift store, and it was actually semi I guess like okay and going along, right? Um and then it kind of obviously like a lot of things, like the town I live in now. Everybody that moved in got old and nobody young replaced the older people. And so then everybody kind of aged out of the system basically or moved away. And they ended up having to sell the community center, sell the thrift store. So they have a bunch of money sitting in a bank that they use to give out grants and stuff every year. And so they have an owners association still, but there's probably only like, I don't know. I go to the meetings and there's maybe 10 of us, and most of them are the board members, and then it's just me maybe watching and trying to find out what's going on. So I'm hoping to have like a little group of people when I get there that are sort of all on the same page. But from the meetings, it seems like 8 people with 8 different ideas of what should go on down there. So it's kind of a lot of arguing back and forth over like crazy stuff, and I don't know. And then they're also older still. So a lot of them want to use technology for stuff, but they have no idea how to do it. So they've just been paying people that have been ripping them off, unfortunately. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on down there, and it's going to be an interesting mix of people to deal with. But I have my fingers crossed. So
Well,
Wow.
I'm amazed by what you're doing anyway. It's, you're doing, I really support that, Johnny. I'm amazed by what you're able to accomplish. It
I haven't
makes me feel,
accomplished it yet.
no, but it makes me feel hopeful. Well, you're always accomplishing something. The little things you do all add up to something important. And I feel that using your considerable energy the way you do is inspirational. It's in a different way, it helps me not just be an old person, but to keep going, to say, well, I can do this, I can do that. What can I do here instead of, because there's a lot right now that makes us feel like going this way, you know?
Yeah, it's a crazy world we're living in at this time. But
Right.
it's motivating to me because now I feel like you mentioned with Bernie not getting any press. Well, in my crypto world on our social media, I see a lot of people posting very anti-Trump stuff, even though there was a lot of pro-Trump stuff at the beginning because everybody thought they were going to get rich from Trump's policies, right? And now they're all awakening to the nightmare that it seems to potentially become, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, nobody knows the future. He could turn around and pull some crazy shit out of his ass and it'll be amazing. I don't think that's going to happen, judged by what's going on so far. So I don't want to say that it's going to be bad because we don't really know. But I do
Well,
see everybody kind of
think
turning
I
around
think we're
now.
going to have a breakdown of, I don't know what the timeline's going to be. Hopefully it is because of the work that needs to be done on climate. That's where I really run into the wall.
Yeah, well, he's declaring a national energy emergency today, right? Or later this week so that he can like pump more oil and do more
Yeah,
stuff because he's saying Canada's energy tariffs are too high. So,
well, that's crazy. We
I
won't
know.
even go there.
Yeah.
And good spot I saw with all that is I saw this morning or last night that Duterte in the Philippines, who did that in the Philippines, what Trump has done here, is now being charged legally.
That's good. He admitted to murdering people. Like
Yeah,
literally he admitted
murdering
to
people.
killing
That's what he's
people. Like,
being charged with.
yeah. So that's good. No, that's good. He admitted it multiple times. So like how could you not be charged with that?
But they're doing it, he's not in charge anymore,
Yeah.
and they're doing it. And how long did he rule the Philippines? Oh my God.
Yeah.
So hopefully this can go faster and we'll have some kind of resolution before we have a complete dystopia. That's my hope. But at any rate, I love what we're doing because I think the bioregional vision for the larger vision down the road is really a positive one. And a lot of interest out there in coming to terms with and understanding the way people lived here. I think it's just beginning to dawn with a lot of folks that
Have you guys looked into the Esmeralda Institute? I think that's going on in your area.
Esmeralda, no, I
The
haven't.
Esmeralda Institute, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a pop-up city, wannabe city, sustainable vision for a future. And I think there's a lot of money involved. And
Oh, that's in Hillsburg. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They were there last year and they're coming back or something like that.
yeah, but I recently read an article about it, and so just I thought, oh man, this meeting might be a good time. That might be some good people to connect with because they're not looking at it bioregionally. They're looking at it as sustainable, like what a city should be kind of thing. But obviously influencing them using bioregionalism, I think would totally work. Especially because Samantha Powers and I think she probably has I bet she has some connection to that in some form.
Okay, cool. I'll try to process more what they're doing.
Yeah,
They want to build a permanent city, but they're having like the pop up. So in the crypto slash Web3 slash tech world, there's a lot of these quote unquote. I guess the people that are putting it together call themselves Edge City. And so they'll put together these pop up quote unquote sustainable temporary cities, as they say it, or they'll take over an existing town and then everybody could come there and work together and network and that kind of stuff. In my opinion, the problem with that is that it's a bunch of rich people doing rich people things because it's not a lot of normal people who are able to just pick up and leave their house and go to Healdsburg for 30 days, right? Like it's not a cheap proposition just to go get a place in Healdsburg for the month, right? And then participate in all the events that they're doing. But I mean, that's the problem that I see right now is even with my project or idea of expanding affordable housing is I need financing for affordable housing, and that has to be almost through traditional capitalism at this point because of the world we live in, and how do you balance that out? So I think there is the need to connect with some of these people that have a vision that's maybe quote unquote more rich people focused, even though they won't claim it, right? But there's always the chance that some of them aren't insane Elon Musk type people, and maybe they'll be down to participate with some other stuff. Maybe more realistic too, because a lot of these quote unquote network states that they're trying to form that are like internet based, they just have no basis in reality. So you need to somehow ground them in a physical location with people that live there and stuff. So I don't know. The bioregionalism makes sense to try to attract that kind of people too.
Okay, that's an interesting thought. Thank you.
Yeah.
that's, you triggered a thought that I've had too, is that we've been looking mostly at people who are doing environmental stuff, work of one kind or another, soil, water, so forth. But we also have this whole arena of social justice of people who are increasingly challenged and having difficulty. And how we're going to, how is our circle going to have people, for example, like Jobs with Justice, that group, which we're familiar with.
And North Bay Organizing Project?
Yeah, NBOP, I was a member of both of those groups for a period. So I'm kind of aware of them from the inside. But how do we relate to the, not just the indigenous, but this Mexican community that is very major in parts of even Marin and Sonoma County.
I think they're an easy population because they're already involved in a lot of production work and gardening work. And like
Right,
half of my family's Mexican, and I tell you, they garden like a son of a gun in their backyard.
right.
So like they're all about it already, and so I think, it's another one of those things where it's just a lack of awareness of what you're already doing and making people aware that, hey, you're already kind of living this way, like, so embrace it maybe a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah, Trump's not going to save you.
Well, we lose all the Trumpers if we approach it that way. But you know what's funny is that on Fox News, someone played a clip. I don't watch Fox News. I just catch all my news like on YouTube when they're making fun of the news. And so they played a clip of Fox News actually telling people they probably should have like chickens in their yard and grow some vegetables, which I thought was hilarious because they were the ones who were like, the prices of groceries are gonna come down, and now they're telling you you're better off just growing your food in your yard. Which,
Yeah.
hey, that's bioregionalism, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
like, hey, there's another angle right there.
Oh, along that line, I did make connection with Traven Daily Acts. And Traven is interested. He's just getting back and he's a little overwhelmed, but he's going to be in touch with me. He said probably next week sometime we can talk. So that's in the right direction with the Daily Acts, which is, been doing that in a big way for a long time. The gardening, yeah. So we've got, I just feel like this next week or two, Dina and Pat, that we need to just put the feelers out, put our little blurb out, see if we can get people who are responding. I'm surprised Dan isn't with us, but hopefully I'll get in touch with him and we'll see if he can be with us the next meeting. Or if he really is wanting to do it at this level. Be a good source. And Pat, I got a feeling that you're feeling a little, I'm just reading vibes in your face and watching you. And so emotionally, personally, how are you dealing with all of this? And how can we support and connect with you in a way that helps? Are you feeling a bit overwhelmed?
Dealing with what's happening in the administration, or
Oh, no, I'm just looking at you and
well, I'm certainly don't have as much going as what I hear from the rest of you. Somehow I've kind of lost the fire in my belly, so not getting much
oh, yeah.
happening. So, but I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen when I take the class and starting, the webinar coming up. I I don't know. I'm in a funny place, I guess, but we'll see what happens in the coming month.
I think, I mean, I have been struggling with, it's partly the aging process and the
Yeah.
isolation and
That's happening with me too.
I feel that too. I mean, I'm not as functional in that kind of multitasking way as I used to be. I used to be able to
Yeah.
hold it all in my head. And I
Mhm.
can't do that anymore, even though I would think I'm all set up to be an elder that people come to. And that has a little bits of wisdom or something, but it's not the functional level that we're having to work at. And that doesn't exist anymore, or in a way. So I just reach across to you because I feel that you're very important to me and to what we're doing. And it helps to, I think I get this from Johnny too, what Johnny
Yeah,
gives me.
Johnny's got a lot of energy going there.
Moving positive,
Yeah,
energy that comes from moving forward.
yeah.
I just want to make one suggestion, and maybe that is embrace the absurdism of life, which is what I'm trying to do right now.
Mhm.
Right? Like, I went from like, oh, kind of doom and gloomy to like, life is life, and like, we just got to live it up because what else can we do? We don't really have any other choice but to have a good time as much as humanly possible because like if we look at big picture, really, what's the point? We just were born here without our own choice, to people who we didn't choose to be born to, in a location we didn't choose to be born, at a time we didn't choose to be born. It's all just some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the way I'm looking at it. And it's like, what can I do to enjoy this just completely random thing, and how can I leave it slightly better? And like, I look, Pat, you're out doing the broom service. There's your bioregionalism right there, dude. And you got other people in the broom service. Those people by default are doing bioregional work. Like, and you may not view it that way, but like, that's literally what it is. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
to the
sure.
to like the most bioregional level possible, because you're literally picking out invasive species. So like, it doesn't get much more bioregional
No,
than that.
it's
So,
true. It's
you
very
know,
true.
that's all I'm gonna say is like, you
Yeah,
do have people that are your cohorts. They're just your broom service homies,
yeah,
right? Like, and so
yeah. I
embrace
really
the
like
broom
being
service
part of that
people.
too. So I've managed my piano lessons so that I have time to do that on Thursday mornings. So it's kind of I'm a little embarrassed to say that I'm having more fun playing piano than doing anything right now. So
Yes, yes, yes.
when I
Don't
tell
be
you,
embarrassed.
That sounds
Don't
like
be
a good
embarrassed
time.
about that. That's so important. And I agree totally with what Johnny said, except for one thing. I'm not sure, Johnny, that it's that we weren't. I've had a feeling my whole life that I was here for some purpose in the time, and that it would come to me over time. And I do think that we're here with a purpose, potentially, and that part of the joy or the going forward is discovering what that is, trusting it isn't just arbitrary, although I appreciate the, you know, the gist of everything you said. But I think it's very important moment to be alive, because I think what each of us does, we're all connected at some level, deep. And the shifts and the learning, this is what struck me about the bioregionalism, is that it's going out like waves right now. That I was amazed just since we've been involved, which isn't very long, this whole thing, the Takaranto area, the Toronto
Mhm.
has reorganized with Joe. And there's a whole new thing called Legacy.
Mhm.
That's going out. That's big. So we're part of something that if we pay attention to it and go with it, you know, I'm hopeful because I think my work as a teacher will have a platform that may grow, and it may be a meaningful little resource in that larger movement.
Mhm.
Because it's very hard to get it out right now, and nobody's, you know,
Yeah,
and yet what's more important than how we raise our children, how we educate them. And all we have to do is look around to see what the results of our current system have produced. So, yeah, I just want to say you're very important to me. You help me keep going, that you're there, and
okay.
the person that you are. So I hope that it's mutual.
Yeah, definitely.
Amen.
By the way, I wanted to bring up something that I mentioned. You know, we have a larger group in on our distribution list than actually come to our meetings. And I was wondering if I should um, ask if people still want to be on the distribution list or just leave it as it is. What do you
I
think?
would ask, I
Yeah,
would ask,
okay. That's what I'll do then. When I put out I'm going to put out, I'll get the video, and when I get ready to put it up there, I'll send it out to everybody too, and ask if they still want to be involved on the distribution list.
yeah, or would they like to just be in the circle once it's formed? There I am with my memory again, the gal up in Mendocino.
Yeah, Kirsten,
Kirsten,
yeah, Kirsten,
Kirsten may want to just be in that
yeah,
group rather than in,
yeah,
because she's working hard with what she's doing rather than in the hub that we are. It sounds like that might. So I
You
would
went
ask a
pretty
question.
much, yeah. I was just thinking about somebody who came in a couple of times. What's her first name? She's over in the East Bay, and she never came a few times, and then I still keep her on the list. I haven't heard from her. People like that, and we haven't heard from he's got the Bay Delta. Um,
Yeah, but they're in a different,
yeah,
they're not in our.
no, but I mean, we've been in
we
touch.
need
And
to
I haven't
hear
heard
from
from
him.
him.
I would like to know what he's doing
Yeah,
too.
so
But that's I
name.
think we have to form this and then we make the connections with
Mhm.
the groups. There's a big bioregion going down the delta and the valley. So
Oh, going down where in the?
the valley. I've also been in touch too with Judy in Planet Drum.
Hmm,
She's very interested in what we're doing. So I'm sending her things and I will. She has a larger sense too.
being connected is really right
Yeah.
now. Making connections is really important. The person who chairs the Lagunitas Creek Watershed Technical Advisory Council is coming over my house tomorrow. So I'm hoping to talk to her about these things. Because there's so many other groups involved in the Technical Advisory Council. I mean, Dina's involved on her watershed. And so I'm going to see if there are any organizations that any other people I could connect with that she has contact with. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Great. So good luck, Beans. I hope it all, Johnny Beans, I hope it
Yeah,
all
you
just
got this.
develops in this
Man, I can't
area.
keep up with you to hear what
Yeah,
you're saying.
so-
Huh.
And Dina, is there anything you want to add before we?
Oh, I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, maybe next time we can see you.
Hey, I'm just glad that I got free Wi-Fi in my car and I'm using my
Good.
phone. It's working.
That's
Yeah,
good.
so
He's busy.
are you going to be back? Are you just out for a bit? Or are you on a
I'm
larger?
I'm just in Guerneville for till 1 o'clock. But I am gonna go see my daughter Pauline for a long weekend. So I'm gonna be gone Thursday through Monday.
Okay.
Okay, so should we wrap it up then, or?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, it's good hearing it from everybody, and I'll put the recording out. I'll get the recording and put it out. So,
Okay. Thanks for your
hang on,
work.
Beans, you got a lot on your plate, Beans. So,
Yeah,
Thank-
hey, gotta stay busy, man. You
Yep.
gotta, you know what they say. If you work hard enough, you'll get rid of your depression and it will become exhaustion.
exactly,
Oh
exactly.
my gosh, I never heard that, but I totally believe it.
Go for it.
Okay.
Have a good one. I'll see you guys at the next one.
Johnny.
All right,
Oh,
take
Okay, take care.
bye
Bye.
bye.